Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I know it has been a long time since you've seen my face on the camera. Guess who's back again. And I just wanted to say I am happy to be back. Just a little insight of kind of what went down and why I disappeared for a little bit was that I actually needed to get a job to kind of supplement my income. My sales weren't as good as I needed them to be at the time. So that part-time job turned into a full-time job, and that full-time job has been... I hate it here! We are getting back into the thrifting game. We now have some time. We hired some new people at work. So now I have a little bit more time to kind of do what I need to do throughout the week and get my daily stuff done so I can actually get back to making YouTube videos and thrifting content and stuff like that. So we are actually on our way to drop off a quick package. Thank you to Dina from Gainesville, Florida for ordering this Tomorrowland t-shirt from me. So I appreciate your business. If you somehow see this video, just know that I appreciate you. All right, so I do know there is some stuff to address because obviously you shouldn't really disappear from doing YouTube for over 6 months and then just magically come back and pretend like nothing changed. But I do want to talk about that and talk about the future of this channel, because if you noticed and you're watching this from the actual channel today, I have updated my banner to no longer say weekly videos. Honestly, I did want to stick to the idea of weekly videos. I like that idea. It kept a little bit of consistency and gave you guys something new to watch every week in amongst the other reseller YouTubers you're probably watching. But the good news is now that I'm not taking that pressure out on myself to get a new video out weekly, I can post hopefully on a little more of a regular schedule. I'm hoping to try and get a video out every 2 weeks or so, depending on my work schedule. I am kind of looking for something hopefully a little bit closer to me, give me a little bit more free time. I spend about 10 to 12 hours of my week driving, so by the time I do have a day or two off, it just really takes it out of me, and I'm really not looking forward to doing things like thrifting and making YouTube. I just kind of want to relax or get stuff done around the house, like laundry, catch up on dishes, things that I need to get done. So obviously I tell you guys this all for a reason, and if you don't want to recap this part, I will just put a time card in there that you can just skip to it. But the reason I'm telling this to you is to know that I wasn't just falling off as a YouTuber, I wasn't just giving up. I didn't ever want to give up YouTube, but I had to make a priority to make enough money to get myself through the holiday season, make sure I could take care of the people that I love, my family. So that's kind of why I dropped off of the YouTube face for a little bit. Now I got some pretty good plans for this actual video, so I'm gonna stop and grab some breakfast real quick because I realized that all the eggs in my house were expired. So I'm not gonna try and eat expired eggs. I would rather not spend the day in the ER. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop at Dunkin'. Bro, is that a Dunkin' Donut? Grab some breakfast and then I'll kind of go over the game plan for the day.
A few minutes later.
Breakfast acquired. I normally hardly ever drink caffeine, so I'm hoping this green tea doesn't cause me the craziest amount of anxiety I've ever felt in my life.
Oh, shout out to everybody with social anxiety. I kind of feel sorry for you.
But so here is the game plan now that we have secured breakfast. So first things first, I got new contacts. I did not like them. They were a lot cheaper than my normal contacts for a year supply, but the budget difference is about $300. So I have to pay an extra $300 to get the contacts I actually like after the ones I returned. So the goal today is to make $301 from thrifting. Now, this is potential profit. This isn't including any offers. I'm just telling you and showing you guys that this is still possible in 2024. It's still possible to make a living or at least pay for some of your expenses by doing that. Second order of business is breakfast cost me, ugh.
What did he say?
Second order of business is breakfast cost me $10.59. So we're gonna be adding that to today's total because obviously if I'm paying for breakfast, I should be able to pay for that with the job that I am doing, AKA the flipping and reselling. Now, the cool thing about this challenge is I'm actually doing this in a completely new area. I have a bunch of thrift stores mapped out in a new part. I don't want to say new part of town, it's actually the next town over. So I'm very excited to go out there because I usually have very good luck at their Targets and Walmarts finding stuff to flip. So I'm hoping that I get the same experience. I got about a 40-minute drive, so I'm gonna chow down on this grub and get moving out there so that way we can get some content. So I'll see you guys at the first stop. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we officially got to the thrift store about 40 minutes later. So it was a nice little drive though. Not a lot of traffic, really cool. This is the place we're going into. It's called Full Circle Thrift. I think it is a church-run thrift store. So usually I find a lot of hidden gems here. Not a lot of like resellers come to places like this. So as soon as I find something, I'll be hitting you guys up. All right, guys, so I didn't record in there because it was like a community thrift store. So they seem very nice, but they also seem like the type of people that would probably say something in the event that I was recording. So I really didn't want to like rock the boat in a new place that I've never been before. So I did end up getting one thing, even though I thought I wasn't going to get anything, and that would be this Jeep survival knife. This thing is sick. I hope I can show this on YouTube, but just look at this thing. I mean, it's cool. I'm not a huge Jeep guy, but I know that Jeep stuff sells very, very well. It also has like the sharpening stone with it, so that was also a good find. But everything looks to be in really good shape. I did some comps out on eBay for it, and I was seeing it sell for like $60-65 free shipping. So I'll probably spend a little time cleaning it up, because I did notice that it was starting to look a little rough around the edges, but I definitely want to clean it up. But I thought this was just an awesome find. I knew as soon as I picked it up it was worth the $10. So they also did 10% off for military discount today, so I got 10% off, but I ended up donating it back because they do like a whole bunch of community stuff. So really cool people, very, very nice. Not a lot in that thrift store. Seems like it's a really curated selection. Like they have a very boutique vibe to them. I normally do better in the grungy place that they don't go through everything properly, and I end up finding all the best deals there. So we're gonna move to the next store. I don't know which one it is. I'm saving like the best rated one in the area for last, so I'll probably hit like the Goodwill in the area next, or there might be another thrift store that I'm gonna go ahead and go to. But we are burning daylight, so definitely add this to the profit pile. I'm gonna put $50 profit on this, just because the prices I was seeing, I might change that number, but you'll see it up and see how close we're getting to that $300 mark. So to the next store. All right, so there was some logic to my thought process of coming out to a small town, and it was not like necessarily that they're like too dumb to price stuff, but like I thought that because it's a small town, they would want to move stuff faster. There's less people shopping there. I thought maybe, hey, they're gonna price stuff lower or something like that. I mean, that thrift store that I just went into, it wasn't even worth showing. I mean, everything was really overpriced, and by overpriced I mean more than like what you could buy it on Amazon or eBay for, with free shipping. So I think, like, to me, like, I get it, these companies kind of have to eat. Like, that's what I'm trying to do too, right?
You got something to eat up in there? We hungry.
I can't fault them for doing that, but I saw like a leather women's Harley motorcycle jacket for like $175, and it wasn't new with tags or anything. So I know stuff like that can go up for like $100, but I think like $175 in the thrift store setting is kind of wild. They had a lot of sealed media. There would have been a couple things I could have picked up, made a couple bucks on, but honestly, I'm trying to get out of sealed media. It's not really worth it. And then the video game section they had was like the worst. Like, you could think of all the crappiest like shovelware you could possibly think of, like that's what they had. So we're gonna move on to the Goodwill. I think it's right up the road from here. I'm gonna try and see, and hopefully that saves us today, but so far we're not looking good on the budget. We might try and stop at like a couple pawn shops or video game stores, and maybe even some retail arbitrage to try and hit that $300 mark. So let me get over to this Goodwill and we'll see what we can find over there. All right, so we're walking into this Goodwill right here. Now, I'm much more comfortable filming inside here, so you'll probably get a lot of footage in here. Hopefully we can find some good stuff. I've been finding really good things lately. Yeah, yes sir. But hopefully we can find some really good stuff in here, and I will let you guys know what I find. All right, guys, so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the game that I have in my cart right now. So I did find it, but I forgot to press the record button apparently. So now I'm just looking through a couple of games. You'll see me pull down this Yahtzee, World Series of Yahtzee game. A bunch of other YouTubers have mentioned it before, but it is a great game. The box wasn't in perfect shape, so I did take a look through it later on, and I found out that a lot of the dice were missing. So I actually ended up putting that one back. I went ahead and moved out of the toys and into most of the electronics and kitchen appliances. Now, I'm super out of touch and out of date with a lot of the kitchen appliances that are still worth money, even for parting out. I have to really think about which ones or still worth money, and actually do some more research before I end up picking any of those up. I saw this safe too. It looked like a really good deal for what it was, and it looked like it wasn't locked, but it wasn't opening for me, and I had a feeling that it didn't come with the keys, so I just left it. I then moved on and looked at this Roomba. At first I was just gonna leave it. I noticed the dustbin was still full. It looked like it wasn't really in the best shape, but I did plug in the charger and I checked everything out, and it worked out pretty well. Now moving on into this next clip, it's sideways for some reason. I'm not sure why, but the GoPro just felt like recording sideways apparently. So after doing the looking through that shirt, I noticed that it was in good shape, so I decided to put it in the cart, and you'll obviously see the Roomba in there too. All right, ladies and germs, it is super windy, but we definitely picked up there. I'm gonna add everything to the total. Probably just gonna cut in at home and say what we got here rather than try to do it in the wind. So you guys will see that probably next. But after that, we're gonna be heading to another thrift store. This one has the best ratings in the area. Everyone says I go to this one over everything else. So hoping that means that that's the best prices, and we'll go from there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at a Double J's new and used antique collectible, repurposed and vintage. So hoping there's some cool stuff in here. Looks like anything with an orange price taker is 50% off today. I have no idea what to expect going in. I'm on my phone now because my GoPro died because I walked out of the house with like half charged batteries because I just started to make this video in a whim. So I'm gonna go in here, see if there's anything cool. If there is, I'll record it, of course, and see if we can find anything awesome. But the Goodwill stop definitely was the best so far. So we'll see what's out here. All right, guys. So I am way too excited to not share this with you. I just stopped in a place called the Collector's Den in Culpeper, Virginia. Awesome game store and like collectible store. They have all kinds of stuff. They have this crazy stuff here, but I got a couple of games. So I got Second Sight Complete, really minty copy for $23.99. A little bit above what would you get it for on eBay, but like I said, it was a really good copy. The actual grail find I found, and the only reason I'm bringing up like my personal collection stuff is because I found all the profit that I needed technically in one sitting. I'm not going to sell this game, but I got a copy of disc only Pokemon box for $150. If you know anything about collecting video games and grail games to find, this is one of them, even disc only. This disc goes for $800, $900, $1,000 sometimes. And I got it for $150. Look at that, $150. That's what I paid for it. I didn't just slap a sticker on this. I literally paid $150 for this game. I don't know how they mispriced it that bad, but it was such a good deal, and I'm so happy I found it. So I'm gonna add it to the budget just because, I mean, I'm keeping it, but I feel like I should add it to the budget. I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but if you didn't care about GameCube and you saw this and you resold it, it would be a different story. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, if this was a huge grail find, a huge flip, or you know, if I overpaid. I don't think I did, because I can definitely find the case for this for like a couple $100 maybe, and I'll have a complete copy for like $350. A complete copy goes for like $1,500–1,600. So this was probably the best gaming find I have ever found out in the wild, and I was so excited about that other GameCube game I got for $299. But I'm shaking right now. I don't know if you can tell by the camera, but I am shaking because I got such a good deal on this. I am so happy to have this. This is definitely going on like a stand or a pedestal or something. It is going to be displayed proudly, and I kind of want to keep the $149.99 sticker on there because it just seems like a really cool thing to have on there as a deal. So other than that, guys, I am going to meet you guys back at home, kind of go over everything and then recap kind of where we ended up. Okay, so a little bit of sad news. I realized that the game version when I took it out was the PAL version of the game, which is only worth like $50. About that, obviously, that I just paid $150 for a $50 game, which also I have to take it out of the budget. But I just want full transparency. I don't want you guys to like, I could have just left this whole part out, but I was very excited about the GameCube games, so I'll leave it in because it was a cool little rambling session that I did. But I went in and I was like, hey, do you guys take returns? And she's like, not typically. And I was like, well, I said, this is the PAL version of the game and it's not worth nearly what you sold it to me for. So she was like, oh, it was a consignment. She's like, that's what he had it priced at. She's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I got you though, I'll take care of it. So I ended up getting my 150 bucks back, but I'm still a little bummed that I didn't actually end up getting the Pokemon box. Now, if it was the PAL version and it was kind of worth 150, I would have kept it that way, because that way I could just have it in my collection regardless. That didn't sit right with me, but she made it right, so it was okay. And she said when we tested it, it worked fine. So I think they might have had like a region-free GameCube or something like that. But definitely, I had a little mini heart attack when she said they don't take returns, because I was like, oh my God, did I just pay $100 over what this game is worth to get it? Hopefully she tells the person that consigns they just didn't know, it was a misunderstanding. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt because it is what it is. But the good news is we're still walking out with a a second sight game to add to the collection. So at least there's a couple GameCube games being added to the collection today. But other than that, I will see you guys at home once we go through everything, see where we're at with the numbers. This might have to become a 2-part series. See if we can make up that other half in my hometown, thrifting, and seeing if we can find stuff for the flip. So I will meet you guys back at home. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back home right now. So we laid out pretty much everything that we got today. Now, we didn't get a ton. Little disappointed that we stopped at 4 different places and really didn't get anything. The other thing that happened too with that Pokemon box really put a damper on my spirits, and I just said, you know what, it's time to go home. Today's not our day. So we did take an L a little bit today. We didn't quite make the goal of like the 310 or whatever we needed to make today. So I am going to do a part 2 most likely, but I did want to go over real quick the comps of these items that we picked up today. So I just went over those on my computer, and I just want to go over them with you guys real quick. So let's take a look. So the first thing we picked up was this Mickey Mouse NEFF collab. Now, normally I would pick this up at the bins all day, but I didn't realize by the time I got to the register, these shirts were actually $6 and not $3.50. So unfortunately, because this shirt was so much more than just the $3.50. Now, because we actually ended up paying up for this shirt, it looks like we're gonna quite literally break even on it. I saw the same sizes going for about $12 to $13 plus shipping. So when you take out the $6 buy cost plus the eBay fees and all that, we're gonna be looking at net of somewhere of $4 to $8, somewhere in there. Depends, we might be able to get a little bit extra because it is an XXL, so it's a little bit of a bigger size, a little bit of a more unique size, and kind of looks like it would be close to like a big and tall size too. So I do want to absolutely put the measurements in with this. That'll probably help sell it for a little bit of a premium. The next thing we got was this Columbia sportswear shirts. Now, these aren't anything crazy, but for $5, it was a pretty good pickup. I mean, we sell these all day for 15, maybe 20 bucks, depending on the right buyer coming along. I'll probably list it for 20 free shipping and see where that takes me. These are super lightweight, so it's not gonna cost a lot to ship, probably like $4 or $5 max. I would say realistically, at the end of the day, we're probably going to get about $8 out of this. But you know, 5 into 8 is pretty good. This Columbia jacket was actually a great find. Now, I did some research on this. I had some issues finding this exact colorway, which is normally not a bad thing, because the more unique the color is, the more it will sell for a higher price. Now, I did notice that there's not any rips, not any tears. All the zippers do work. There's a little bit of stuff in the Velcro, but that stuff comes out. It also has the reversible zippers and stuff like that too. So this is a very, very good jacket, and it is in great shape. So I'm thinking I can probably get about $30 to $35 for this plus shipping. So I paid $12 for it. So after fees and shipping, I'm probably going to be looking at about another $15 in profit there. So moving on to the Jeep knife. Now, I think I did talk about this in the car already, but the Jeep knife I actually was looking at a little bit more. I thought it was missing the cord that goes on the bottom here. As you can see, there's like a little notch for the cord. It's actually in the handle here. This unscrews at the bottom, and then there's the cord inside there. So I didn't want to really mess with taking it out and putting it back in to show you guys, but trust me, it is in there. And then of course it does have the stone. I think they're normally called whetstones, but I don't think that's a whetstone. I think this is just like a dry like sharpener for your knife. So very, very cool, very, very awesome random find in the middle of Culpeper, Virginia. But you know, at $10, I would say realistically it's probably going to be another five-ish to ship, and then on top of that, you know, you're looking at some fees. So I would say realistically on a safe day, probably $35 to $40 profit. All right, Sorry about that quick interruption, guys. I realized that Bluey was still on, and I didn't know if you guys could hear it or not, so I went ahead and turned it off. But I actually went ahead and I have the game in my GameCube here, which obviously it is a new and working GameCube. So I just wanted to go ahead and put the game in and see if it works. You know, Goodwill games are always a little sketchy. Their discs are always questionable. So I went ahead and bought it, and the startup screen is happening. Iconic. Oh, it's loading. It's loading, I think.
EA Games. Challenge everything.
Yeah, so looks like the game is indeed working. Of course, that's something I'm going to keep. Nothing crazy. This is like a $15 game. So I'd say realistically, if we were going to put it in the profit pile, I would say that after shipping and fees, we would probably make about $10. Again, a good come up, $3 into 10. And then of course, I think winner of today's money spending extravaganza. I know the lighting kind of sucks right here. This is the iRobot Roomba we picked up. Now, I did put it on the charger and stuff and make sure that it turns on. I think I could just set it to clean. Yep. And so it's disconnecting. It knows it's home and it's just going on its way. Now this thing, oh, hold on. Hold on, how do you stop? Ah! It's doing it. It's going home. Okay, so it did go home, which is a good sign. It went home. It found where it needed to go eventually. So these things are actually surprisingly still profitable. Even the more basic models like this one that you have to empty every time still sells for about $70 to $80 used. I'm probably gonna list it on Facebook Marketplace locally for $75. See where that takes me. Leave me with a potential profit of about $55, $50 after the tax I paid on the original thing. So I went ahead and did all the math. What you're seeing on the screen comes to a grand total of about $111 in profit, give or take. Not a huge come up, especially for going to 4 stores and driving 40 minutes into a smaller town. Let me know if you guys want to see the opposite of this, where I go into even more densely populated area and see if their Goodwills potentially have better items or more profitable items, I should say. So hopefully you guys did learn something from this video today. Please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. So I did want to bring up one last subject before I end the video today, and that is that I'm very much unversed. I've been so busy with my full-time job now that I really haven't had time to thrift again. So I forgot about a lot of the things that I knew were profitable, or a lot of the things that I used to grab all the time are no longer profitable. That being said, Harry Tornado, who is another reseller YouTuber that's much bigger than me, was talking about how he's so spoiled at the Goodwill bins, which is the last stop pay by the pound outlet that Goodwill has. I feel the same way about the Goodwill bins, is that it's so cheap to buy product there and you're able to flip it so much faster when you're able to offer such a lower selling price that it's almost not worth it to go into these regular stores anymore, and it's just better off to go into the bins, look for stuff that you can find on the super cheap, and flip on the super cheap. But I won't bother you with all the details of this. I did learn a lesson today about making sure I check my GameCube games ahead of time before purchasing. Future editing Derek here. I just cut myself off because I was rambling for like 20 minutes about stuff that didn't even matter or was relevant to this video, but I do want to say thank you so much, guys, for watching today's video. If you liked it, please leave a like. Let me know that you are ready for me to come back, and also subscribe if you're not already subscribed. It just takes 2 seconds and it definitely helps me a lot. So I will catch you guys on the next one.
Bro, is that a Dunkin' Donut?